Hello and welcome to Unsourced Wall. My name is Elvis, and as always, I am your host. Alright, so we have a short one today, not a lot of reviews, and an even shorter version of WandaVision that came out this week. So let's just get on with it with some movie news. The first of which is that apparently they're continuing on with their line of merch for the Snyder Cut, with a brand new t-shirt having the Snyder Cut's design of Steppenwolf on it. Very similar and basically the same line as the Darkseid shirt that we talked about last week. And that's really disappointing because while Darkseid's design is actually really good and I would love to have it as a shirt, even if it's really expensive as hell, Steppenwolf's design in both versions of the movie really suck. And it's really disappointing to see that slot taken up in the merch by such a nothing design. But hopefully, if WB is smart, we'll get a shirt for Desaad, because it would be really, really disappointing if we got a Darkseid shirt and a Steppenwolf shirt, but no Desaad shirt, despite the fact that Desaad having his whole iconic robe look just blows Steppenwolf out of the water. And let's move on to our second bit of news, which is that apparently Marvel Comics is allowing fans to vote on the new X-Men member through a poll on their website. And yeah, looks like it might be fun. It's going to be lasting I believe a month. It's the end of February. And I've already cast my vote for the mutant with the silliest name on the poll, Boom Boom, who some might remember from the X-Men Evolution TV series. I have no other reason to vote for her other than that. So fingers crossed that she wins, because that'd be hilarious. And that's about it. Let's move on to what I read this week. First off, we have Superman vs. Imperious Lex #1. And, well, as you can tell, I folded. But just for this one, because it barely even counts as a future state story. It's just a retelling of a classic Silver Age story, and done by none other than Mark Russell of all people. So how could I resist? Let's mark this down as the first and only Future State comic that I am going to be reading throughout the original release of Future State. And let me tell you, it's a bit of a mixed bag. Now, for those of you who don't know, the original Silver Age story of Lexor was a pretty simple one. Lex leaves Earth, finds happiness and control over an alien planet he names after himself, only to find it disrupted and later destroyed, eventually blaming Superman for all of his losses. Which is a pretty fun, outrageous idea. So the fact that Mark Russell will be doing a modern reimagining of it was a little too good to ignore. And there are moments in this issue where it does live up to that potential. Russell has some great gags in this, some really snidely, wisely crafted commentary. But most of all, the twist he brings to the original story and how it's set up is actually really fucking interesting. It casts a boldly refreshing light to the premise that is so simple but rather elegant. Rather than Lexor basically coming to ruin it in a way that harkens back ironically to Krypton's demise, Superman and his friends decide to help Lexor throughout its institution and occupation of Lex. Like the very fabric of Lex society and how toxically precarious position he put the planet in, and how to help fix that on a sociological level. That's a really good high concept direction to take this conceit, and I'm here for it. Unfortunately, this isn't one of Russell's best stories so far. Unlike his, top tier series, where he's able to integrate the commentary and the message seamlessly through the story, characters, and atmosphere, it feels a lot more like his low tier stuff, where the majority of the comic feels tired, rote, and very speechifying, and it drags and slogs because of it. There's still a lot to like, but a lot of it was tiring and bogged down. Overall, I hope it picks up, and I'm still cautiously optimistic about it. 2 thumbs middle. Next up, we have Strange Adventures #8. Now, we're 75% through this series, and it's still failing to make any sort of statement or message about the very themes it keeps trotting out. It's basically been swirling around the same trite cliche about how war is bad and how war crimes are in the eyes of the beholder, but never actually engages or interacts with that theme. It just states it, here and there, and this issue is no different. We're just seeing a really badly rendered jail fight scene and Adam Strange war prisoner PTSD flashback stuff, and then, again, did he do war crimes? The very same question we've been asking since the first fucking issue, but never seem to have actually had any discourse about. It's that kind of stalling nature of it that makes this such a chore to read. I really don't understand how anyone can get anything out of this. It's just so damn boring. Without any kind of emotional or philosophical background to keep it propped up. So it's bringing nothing about that conversation to the table. 2 thumbs down. And next up, we have The Other History of the DCU #2. This one, the story of Guardian and Bumblebee. And it's even better than the first issue. Insanely better. And the first issue was already really fucking good, which is just astounding to me. What really sets this one apart from the first one is the contrast. While Black Lightning's spotlight issue was a rage against the heavens about the constraints of a time in a world that didn't understand or care about people like him, Guardian and Bumblebee flips that over to being a bit more about insiders. Black Lightning, in a weird way, reveled in being an outcast. He felt that the struggles made him strong, made him more self-sufficient and independent. But for Mal and Karen and Duncan, they're part of the team, the gang, the world from the outset. They're more socially adjusted, of the in crowd, and young enough to be optimistic and maybe even naive. Yet that's what makes the harsh realities of the world work at odds with that outlook and their perspective. And dynamics between that work hand in hand so well. We're being taken on a deep dive through the lives of these people who are there, but constantly reminded they don't truly belong or fit in with these people in the DCU. It's heartbreaking, heart-wrenching, and so hard-hittingly powerful. Like, I felt exhausted by the end of this issue, but in the best way possible. Like I had just really read a true epic of a character study. What really helps with that is that Black Lightning's issue is just one voice, a strong and vivid voice, nonetheless, but only one. But here we get the back and forth between Malcolm and Karen's lives and their own emotions, and that conflict and contrast flesh out even the subtle nuances of the world so wonderfully. It makes you understand every sordid, intimate, joyful, and even sorrowful detail of their experiences, their highs and their lows. The fact that they're also showing the effect of the DCU on the youth, rather than Black Lightning's role as a mentor, as a mature hero in his issue, only amplifies that impact. How the DCU can mold the insecurities and just the struggles of the kids, and especially the kids who are already feeling like outcasts on some deeper level. So this issue is a bit of a masterwork. I can't believe there's only one issue left, and I can't wait. Overall, 2 thumbs up. Next up, we have Excalibur number 17. As always, still a lot of really fun sounding ideas. Very, very uninteresting execution. I really don't want to spend any more time in it. I might just drop it. Overall, 2 thumbs middle. And lastly, we have New Mutants number 17. And this was a wonderful issue. It's really starting to stand out from the years of the previous run felt trapped in, but also really picking up from the best of those arcs and what came before had to offer. It's doing its best to set up a larger, but still intimately rooted stakes that feel natural, but also insanely engaging. Like to see just how effectively and subversively Shadow King is able to manipulate and coerce the young mutants, but also just to understand how put upon and pulled apart the new mutants are, and how they become to the point where they don't have the time to notice or care. And it's truly tragic, but not forced or unearned in the slightest. It's really entertaining and dramatic stuff to read, and I love it. It's not wowing me, but it's fun in an earnestly weighty way. And I think that deserves all the credit, considering the other X titles that I've been dropping. Like Wolverine. Overall, 2 thumbs up. It's really good at being what it is, and it might be the best X team title of the whole bunch if this upwards take, keeps up. And it's what I watched this week. First off, and only really, we have WandaVision episode 3. And alright, this was a better and in some ways worse episode than the first 2. A classic mixed bag. On one hand, it's better in that it feels a little more confident in the style of show that it wants to be. The humor is better, it's more consistent in tone, and it's not as jarringly off-putting when it tries to let the story be serious or creepy, when it has to remember it has a plot it needs to get around to foreshadowing and setting up. I mean, that's all fine and good. Where it's worse is that it no longer feels as textured as a sitcom. A reason why a lot of the other stuff felt so jarring in the previous 2 episodes and why they were so disconnected was that those 2 episodes did a really great job at pretending to be a 50s era sitcom. Like astonishingly great imitation work there. This one, not so much when it comes to the 60s and 70s stuff. It feels a lot more hackneyed, a little more trite, a little less ambitious, and less genuine about the kind of work it's trying to be. The old school framing and blocking is mostly gone or really slapdash, and it's basically shot and framed like a regular modern sitcom. It's lost that edge to its gimmick in order to make the actual plot feel less out of place when they need to shift scene tones to fit it in. And well, the gimmick is all this show has, so that comes as a real blow. Without that, the show has nothing. Still, it's still cliches and really limp-wristed attempts at a deeper plot, and overall it's nothing bad, but it's also nothing special. So, 2 thumbs middle. I'm sticking with it. I like sitcoms. I like sitcom tropes, so it's appealing to me on that level. Anyway, let's hope that gets better as it moves along and not worse. Anyway, that's it for this week. I want to say thank you out there to everyone who's still listening. That means so much to me, and I'm so grateful for that. I want to give a shout out to co-hosts for the show at DOTEMCE. Please check them out. They're amazing, and they deserve all the traction they can get. So yeah, give them a follow. And I want to say have a great week. See you next time, and have a good one.